It is with a very heavy heart that I say a few words about the huge human tragedy that happened in Hathras of Uttar Pradesh yesterday. In a stampede occasioned by the coming together of a very large number of people, estimated to number about 2.5 lakh people, brought together by a god man, his name being Vishwa Haribole Baba. Beautiful name, Vishwa Haribole Baba. Reportedly, 116 people have lost their life. More than 300 are seriously injured. And as per the latest report I have from the media, this is supposed to be an approximation. No one knows exactly how many people died. Maybe these numbers are accurate, I don't know. But the media report says that a final picture about the extent of the human toll is yet to emerge. So I have to go by that. Now, how did this tragedy happen? This tragic loss of life and unspeakable human suffering. The people who have lost their life are better off than those who are left behind in states of serious injury. One interesting report I have is that this stampede was caused by people running after the vehicle in which the Baba was traveling, that is Vishwa Haribole Baba, because of a superstition which is referred to as Chakran Ki Dhul. Chakran Ki Dhul. Reportedly, people are made to believe that if they manage to come into contact with, maybe even inhale, the dust that's kicked up by the wheels of the godman's vehicle, they attain some kind of special spiritual or religious merit. Some great blessing will descend on them. In other words, the root cause of this huge human tragedy is rank superstition. Rank superstition. I repeat, rank superstition. I don't know much about Hindu godmen, Muslim godmen, Sikh godmen. I don't know much about any of them. But I do know a lot about Christian godmen. So whatever I am saying here is based on my understanding of the godmen that flourish in the name of Christianity, especially in Kerala. Now these people thrive on superstition. Superstition thrives in a society where people want excessive gains, unmerited favors, without really having to work for it, without having to do anything to gain the advantage they're coveting. So the serious problem in promoting superstition is that on the one hand, it aggravates human covetousness, which is bad in itself. Secondly, it erodes work culture because superstitions attract people with the prospect that without their having to do anything at all, except coming around and keeping the godmen pleased, they don't have to do anything for themselves. They don't have to work hard. They don't have to fend for themselves. They don't have to find remedies for the maladies that afflict them. The godmen will take care of everything. So it erodes people's capacity to work. It's a serious threat to work culture. Third problem with superstition is that it erodes and completely devastates the discipline of accountability. Accountability. In a society poisoned or corrupted with superstitions, there will be no accountability. And it's because superstitions are so widespread in India that our culture of accountability is so weak and so low. Now, a great deal needs to be said about the huge toll that the erosion of accountability exacts from a people and the extent to which a country is crippled by this malady. Uh, in this present context, let me confine myself to a particular aspect of it. In a society where there is no accountability, there will be no solutions found for problems of serious magnitudes. Take the case of the deaths resulting from stampedes in the religious context. I'm going to share with you a report that has come out today in Times of India. So this is not what I'm saying. I'm simply sharing with you just in case this has escaped your notice. I'll just read out a little bit from Times of India, today's paper. January 2005, 265 devotees killed after slippery steps led to a stampede at Mathava Devi temple in Maharashtra's Vai town. August 2008, that is 3 years after that, at Himachal Naina Devi temple, 146 people died after rumors of a landslide triggered a stampede. September 2008, the same year, 224 people trampled to death at Chamundi Devi temple in Jodhpur. November 2013, 100 people killed after a stampede at Madhya Pradesh Ratnagar temple. March 2023, 36 people died as slab on ancient stepwell collapses at Indore temple. January 2022, 12 people killed in a stampede at Mata Vaishno Devi shrine due to heavy rush of devotees. By no means is this an exhaustive list. I don't wish to suggest that stampedes occur only in Hindu religious festivals. I have absolutely no partiality to any religion as far as superstitions are concerned. My confirmed belief is that every religion is equally corrupted and afflicted, polluted by superstition. In this context, I am reminded of a German philosopher. His name is Arthur Schopenhauer. He says human beings can live without faith in God, but they cannot live without superstition. And he emphasizes the fact that all religions thrive on superstition. If you can remove superstitions from religion, religions cannot stand. They will evaporate. So religions survive actually mainly on the strength of superstitions. Now the problem with superstitions, as I said a short while ago, is that it erodes a culture of accountability. And unless and until there is accountability, the rot can never be stemmed and the situation can never be improved. That's the reason why I read out this very short, selective list of the stampedes that happened in our country in the recent past, provided by the Times of India newspaper. It's not my list. I read it out in order to raise a question. All of us know, there is no one in India who does not know, that these large gatherings, especially of a religious kind, tend to result in stampedes. I'm not saying that this problem does not and cannot exist in political gatherings. That's not my subject. I have no such argument. Large gatherings, wherever they happen, are a risk to human life, and therefore, either these huge crowds should be, a gathering of people should be limited in size depending on the space available, or sufficient mechanisms, safety mechanisms should be put in place to ensure that this kind of tragic loss of life does not happen again and again. Why is it that in spite of the proven fact that there is serious threat to life when large gatherings happen, gatherings of this kind, not enough vigilance is exercised, not enough facilities are put in place, and the concerned authorities look the other way, knowing fully well that the result could be horrendous, as it happened in this case. Now, look at this particular instance. It happens in Hathras. Apparently, the venue where this meeting took place at a pinch could hold 100,000 people. The authorities concerned gave permission to hold a meeting of up to 80,000 people, and on the strength of the permission to bring together 80,000 people, 2.5 lakhs of people have been brought together. And then on top of that, the superstition that if people could run after the vehicle in which the God-man traveled and they can catch a whiff of the dust that's kicked up by the wheels of his vehicle, you can imagine the extent to which human dignity is trampled underfoot. Not even animals are made to behave like this. You can't expect an animal to run after the vehicle of a man, being told that if you inhale the dust kicked up by his wheels, the animal will become a superior sort of animal. And human dignity is degraded to this extent in the name of God. Well, in this case, not, thank God it's not God, it is God-men. God-men are de facto gods. Now, we are told that the God-man is on the run. I tell you for a fact, no God-man will be on the run. No God-man has to be on the run because, again, I am saying this based on my understanding, my knowledge of the Christian God-men in Kerala. God-men enjoy unbelievable protection and patronage. They have the protection and patronage of the two foremost centers of authority and influence. First of all, they are protected by their religious networks. In this case, Hinduism in general. And even a criticism of a God-man will be misinterpreted as attack on Hinduism, which is simply not the case. I speak as one who respects Hinduism. And one of my regrets is that I have not had the time to study the Hindu spiritual philosophy to the extent that I should have. So I have absolutely no negativity towards Hinduism. But if I say a word by way of criticism about a God-man within the Hindu fold, I would be caricatured as an enemy of Hinduism. I am caricatured as an enemy of Christianity because I am very blunt and forthright in criticizing this monstrous manifestation of superstition called Christian God-men. They are an insult to the way of Jesus Christ. They are a living contradiction of everything that Jesus advocated, everything that he taught, and everything that he stood and died for. And yet, they are the people who enjoy the blind and unlimited support of the Christian religious hierarchy in Kerala. That's one part of the support. The other is, which is even more powerful, the political hierarchy. Every political party will stand by the God-men around because these God-men can ensure an electoral windfall for religious parties at the time of elections. So a holy collusion exists involving God-men on the one side, religious leaders on the other, and the third factor is political patronage. So it's a terrible, horrible triangle. Political power, religious power, and God-man power. And this will ensure that no accountability is established. The person who is responsible for the de facto murder, as of the present count, 116 people. How many of the 300 and odd people who reportedly are injured will lose their life, we do not know. May God save their life. May they survive and live to tell their tale. But I have my serious doubts, extreme doubts, if the person at the center of it all, the God-man, will ever be brought to books, whether he'll be made accountable. Well, in a society where accountability is abysmally low, how will anyone be held to account? You tell me. All kinds of horrendous things happen. Commissions of inquiry are appointed. Have you ever seen corrective measures being put in place? Take, for example, the NEET examination fiasco. Papers have been leaked, papers have been leaking, and they'll continue to leak. When something like this NEET scandal comes to light, a lot of public indignation will be displayed, and valorous statements will be made that this will be treated with an iron hand. There will be no mercy shown to those who have perpetrated this outrage on the youth of India. And soon enough, people will forget everything and it will be back to business as usual. 70 times question papers have leaked in the recent past. Has any of that resulted in any corrective mechanism being put in place? Why don't we ask the question? Why don't we dare to ask the question why it is that these things which can be readily corrected, corrected? Why is it that no correction, no corrective mechanism, no foolproof mechanism is put in place? Because the weakest aspect of our society is accountability. No one will ever be held accountable. Therefore, people who perpetrate this outrage on the nation and make a fast buck out of it, mega buck out of it, they know they're clever. They know that they can live in comfort and in luxury and nothing will happen to them. If anything, they will gain more respect, more acceptance because they're smart people. Now they're richer by so many hundreds of or thousands of crores. That's how systems work in this country. So this is something that we need to be very, very mindful of. My conviction is this: unless and until we increase and reinforce the culture of accountability in our society, in our country, there will be no remedy for any of these maladies. People will continue to die. Question papers will continue to leak. Young people will continue to be in the state of disarray, bewilderment, and extreme existential anxiety, angst. And the business will continue as usual. The key word, accountability, accountability, accountability. That's what we want. What India wants is not big cathedrals, big temples, big gurudwaras. What India now needs is not even bullet train. What India needs is accountability. Without accountability, there is no improvement, there can be no development, there can be no future, there can be no progress. That is as clear as noonday. There's another issue that I need to flag here. And I do so with great reluctance, but I think the time has come for me to state it up front because this thought has been on my mind for quite some time. Each time a tragedy like this happens, a tragedy caused by godmen and all the rest of it, this thought crosses my mind. I've never stated it in public. I think the time has come for me to go public with it. Predictably, the state government has announced an ex gratia payment of rupees 2 lakhs to everyone, the near relative of everyone who has lost his life. 2 lakhs. 2 lakhs. Now, the point I want to make is this. Why 2 lakhs? Because the people who die in such stampedes are usually poor people. You will never see a rich man or even an upper middle class man or woman or a child die in such cases. It's the poor that usually die because the poor are vulnerable to superstition. They are vulnerable to superstition because they are more helpless and they are more desperate. Now, the question I want to ask is this. Why is it that the state exchequer has to foot the bill? When the government make crores and crores of rupees, people are brought together because it's a highly profitable industry. It's a religious industry, government industry. They don't even pay tax on it. Not a single rupee comes to the public exchequer. But when they cause deaths and devastation, the taxpayers' money has to be used to compensate for it. Why shouldn't the entire amount be realized, taken from the government and its establishment, the stinking rich, They can afford to pay for thousands of people. It is wrong, it is indefensible to take that money from the poor taxpayers' contributions, the entire cost of treating the victims, compensating the lives lost, and repairing whatever damage would have caused to public facilities should be realized from the government concerned. This should become the law of the land. At least this will have the beneficial effect of making this government a little more careful, a little more circumspect. As of now, they can cause any devastation, decamp, and then resurface somewhere else and continue their mega industry of cheating people based on superstitions. How long should this continue? You look at the 51st article of the Indian Constitution, which Article 51A, which prescribe the duties of citizens. Removing superstitions from public life, promoting a culture of thinking rationally, promoting a culture of reform, scientific thinking, all these are deemed the duties of citizens. It remains in the book, but on the ground, exactly the opposite is promoted because there are great gains to be accrued on account of these. I think this situation has to change, and unless and until this changes, these tragedies will continue to happen again and again, which is a blot on our country. Thank you. Jai Hind.